realizing all of the things that the world has to offer that ultimately end up being kind of empty. And that's what King Solomon, the author of this book, is talking about, is the idea of he's experienced all that the world has to offer, and yet he still finds it to be lacking. Just a general reminder for as you watch this video, if you like this content, if you like these kind of videos, please leave a like. It promotes these videos to be seen by other people. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. It allows me to continue making videos like this for you all. And with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get into Ecclesiastes starting in chapter 7. But before we go into that and read it through, there have been little segments. This is what's called an archaeology Bible, and so it'll include things of interest with historical context or archaeological findings or different things like that. But this here is just an excerpt about wisdom literature found in Israel. So I'll read that, and then we'll go ahead and get started in chapter 7. In Israel, the wisdom tradition is especially associated with King Solomon, the author of this book, Ecclesiastes. He's referenced specifically here in 1 Kings chapter 4, verses 29 to 34. Solomon is directly connected with the books of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Solomon. Even though biblical wisdom literature has much in common with the literary traditions from the ancient Near East, it also has elements giving it a distinctive character. The most important of these is the realization that true wisdom is to be found in one's relationship with the God of Israel. It is this theme that is reflected in the statement, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom," and other similar expressions found in the book of Job, Psalms, Proverbs, and Isaiah, and Micah. What distinguished Israelite wisdom from that of its neighbors is the idea that wisdom was related to faith in Yahweh, the God of Israel, not the surrounding pagan deities. Another distinctive feature of biblical wisdom is the relationship between wisdom and revelation. The biblical tradition maintains that the Lord alone is the source of true wisdom, and thus insight gained by observing the order God has built into the universe is consistent with the word he has revealed directly. Thus, in Psalm 19, verses 1 through 6 emphasize revelation and creation, while 7 through 11 emphasize revelation via God's direct instruction. Reflection on God's role in building order into the cosmos is the unique and invaluable contribution of the Old Testament wisdom literature. So there's an interesting little bit of commentary about Solomon's insights versus those of others that we've touched on in previous readings just within this book of Ecclesiastes, like wisdom literature of Egypt and of Mesopotamia. Alright, starting in earnest in chapter 7 now. The contrast of wisdom and folly. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death is better than the day of birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness the face of the heart is made glad. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. It is better for a man to hear the rebuke of the wise than to hear the song of fools. It is better for a man to hear the rebuke of the wise than to hear the song of fools. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of fools. This also is vanity. Surely oppression drives the wise into madness, and a bribe corrupts the heart. Better is the end of a thing than its beginning, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Be not quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger lodges in the heart of fools. Say not, why were their former days better than these? For it is prosperity be joyful, and in the day of adversity consider. God has made the one as well as the other, so that man may not find out anything that will be after him. In my vain life I have seen everything. There is a righteous man who perishes in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man who prolongs his life in evil doing. Be not overly righteous, and do not make yourself too wise. Why should you destroy yourself? Be not overly wicked, neither be a fool. Why should you die before your time? It is good that you should take hold of this, and from that withhold not your hand, for the one who fears God shall come out from both of them. Wisdom gives strength to the wise man more than 10 rulers who are in the city. Surely there is not a righteous man on earth who does good and never sins. Do not take to heart all the things the people say, lest you hear your servant cursing you. Your heart knows that many times you yourself have cursed others. All this I have tested by wisdom. I said I will be wise, but it was far from me. That which has been is far off and deep, very deep. Who can find it out? I turned my heart to know and to search out and seek wisdom in the scheme of things, and to know the wickedness of folly and foolishness that is madness. And I find something more bitter than death, the woman whose heart is in snares and nets, and whose hands are fetters. He who pleases God escapes her, but the sinner is taken by her. Behold, this is what I found, says the preacher, while adding one thing to another to find the scheme of things, which my soul has sought repeatedly, but I have not found. One man among 1,000 I found, but a woman among all these I have not found. See, this alone I found, that God made man upright, and they have sought out many schemes. Chapter 8. Keep the king's command. Who is like the wise, who knows the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom makes his face shine, and the hardness of his face is changed. I say, keep the king's command because of God's oath to him. Be not hasty to go from his presence. Do not take your stand in an evil cause, for he does whatever he pleases. For the word of the king is supreme, and who is to say to him, what are you doing? Whoever keeps a command will know no evil thing, and the wise heart will know the proper time and the just way. For there is a time and a way for everything, although man's trouble lies heavy on him. For he does not know what it is to be, for who can tell him just how it will be? No man has power to retain the spirit, or power over the day of death. There is no discharge from war, nor will darkness deliver those who are given to it. All this I observed while applying my heart to all that is under the sun, when man had power over man to his hurt. Then I saw the wicked buried. They used to go in and out of the holy place, and were praised in the city where they had done such things. This evil deed is not executed speedily. The heart of the children of man is fully set to do evil. Though a sinner does evil 100 times and prolongs his life, yet I know it will be well with those who fear God, because they fear before him. But it will not be well with the wicked, neither will he prolong his days like a shadow, because he does not fear before God. There is a vanity that takes place on earth, that there are righteous people to whom it happens according to the deeds of the wicked, and there are wicked people to whom it happens according to the deeds of the righteous. I said that this is nothing better than I said that this is also vanity, and I commend joy, for man has nothing better under the sun but to eat and drink and be joyful. For this will go with him in his toil through the days of his life that God has given him under the sun. When I applied to my heart to know wisdom, and see the business that is done on earth, how neither day nor night do one's eyes see sleep, then I saw all the work of God, that man cannot find out the work that is done under the sun. However much man may toil in seeking, he will not find it out. Even though a wise man claims to know, he cannot find it out. Before chapter 9, we'll read this here. Ecclesiastes in the Epic of Gilgamesh. So this is interesting. This is an ancient story from the times of Mesopotamia, which I'm sure this will get into. But let's go ahead and read the commentary here, and then we'll get to chapter 9. The Epic of Gilgamesh has become famous as one of the most important literary works Genesis 6 through 9. As a result, Utnapishtim and his wife are granted immortality. However, Gilgamesh comes away disappointed when he learns it is futile to resist the common fate of mankind. As he says to Enkidu early in the account, only the gods live forever under the sun. As mankind, numbered are their days, whatever they achieve is but the wind. The theme of this epic, combined with a generally fatalistic outlook of the Mesopotamian religion, leads to the conclusion, stated in the words of Siduri the alewife, that the meaning of human life is found in experiencing what joy one can in life in the here and now. And this is an excerpt from it. Gilgamesh, whither rovest thou? The life thou pursuest thou shalt not find, whether the gods created mankind, death for mankind they set aside, life in their own hands retaining. Thou, Gilgamesh, let full be thy belly, make thou merry day and night. Of each day make thou a feast of rejoicing, day and night thou and play. Let thy garments be sparkling fresh, thy head be washed, bathe thou in water. Pay heed to the little one who holds thy hand. Let thy spouse delight in thy bosom, for this is the task of mankind. There's a strong affinity between the lesson taught by Siduri and the statement in Ecclesiastes 9 of how one should live in the light of death. Go, eat your bread with joy and drink your wine with a merry heart, for God has already approved what you do. Let your garments always be white. Let not oil be lacking on your head. Enjoy life with the wife you love all the days of your vain life that he has given you under the sun, because that is your portion in life, and your toil at which you toil under the sun. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might, for there is no work or thought or knowledge or wisdom in Sheol to which you are going. With the epic in the book of Ecclesiastes, while they express similar thoughts, there is no sense in which Ecclesiastes can be said to have borrowed directly from the epic of Gilgamesh. While the themes are the same, the words are not. The most one could say is that the author of Ecclesiastes has drawn on the idea that must have been common in the ancient world and still persists today. Second, and most importantly, the two works draw radically different conclusions. Ultimately, Gilgamesh despairs from finding any meaning in life, while Ecclesiastes centers all hope on a life lived in the fear of God. Quite different, for sure, but very interesting to draw the comparison between the two. Alright, let's go ahead and read chapter 9 that's referenced in this. Death comes to all. But all this I laid to heart, examining it all, how the righteous and the wise and their deeds are in the hand of God. Whether it is love or hate, man does not know, both are before him. It is the same for all, since the same event happens to the righteous and to the wicked, to the good and to the evil, to the clean and the unclean, to him who sacrifices and him who does not sacrifice. As the good one is, so is the sinner, and he who swears it is, as he who shuns an oath. This is an evil in all that is done under the sun, that the same event happens to all. Also the hearts of the children of man are full of evil, and madness is in their hearts while they live, and even after they go to the dead. But he who is joined with all the living has hope, for a living dog is better than a dead lion. For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing, and they will have no reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Their love and their hate and their envy have already perished, and forever they have no more share in what is done under the sun. Go, eat your bread with joy and drink your wine with a merry heart, for God has already approved what you do. Let your garment be always white, let not oil be lacking on your head. Enjoy life with the wife whom you love, all the days of your vain life he has given you under the sun, because that is your portion in life, and in your toil, at which you toil under the sun. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might, for there is no work or thought or knowledge or wisdom in Sheol to which you are going. Again I saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, the battle to the strong, nor the bread to the wise, nor riches to the intelligent, nor favor to those with knowledge, but time and chance happen to them all. For man does not know his time, like fish that are taken in an evil net, and like birds that are caught in a snare. So the children of man are snared at an evil also seen this example of wisdom under the sun, and it seemed great to me. There was a little city with few men in it, and a great king came against it and besieged it, building great siege works against it. But there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city. Yet no one remembered that poor man. But I say that wisdom is better than might, though the poor man's wisdom is despised and his words are not heard. The words of the wise, heard in quiet, are better than the shouting of a ruler among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. That seems like a good place to stop. The words of the wise, heard in quiet, are better than the shouting of a ruler among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. Again, not the lightest content that we could ever read, but I do think that it's important, especially, for anybody who may be grappling with something difficult. Life pulls no punches, and sometimes you find yourself grappling with the tough stuff, and I feel like books like Ecclesiastes and Proverbs or the book of Job really grapple with that ugly part of life that, so many people dread or want to avoid, and it can really provide some value, some insight, and perspective. But I think that's a good place to stop for now. We'll pick up next time in chapter 10 here. As always, I appreciate you watching. I know there's a lot of good content out there, and yet you decided to spend some time with me here. So, again, please accept my gratitude, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Have a great rest of your day.